Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in today's video, we're going to be talking to you about how long were they planning on leaving? It's a tough question because every situation is so different, right? You know, every relationship is going to have its own set of issues, and how severe those issues are and how often they're happening are just kind of a few of the things that are going to affect your situation from somebody else's. Now, one of the things to think about is that it's normal to have doubts at certain points in a relationship. Even the best relationships, I'm sure there are going to be certain things that come up here and there that are going to make you consider leaving, or how unhappy you are or happy you are. So if you're with anybody for any extended amount of time and the issues are severe enough, of course you're going to consider other options and leaving the situation. So if it happens, and probably did because you're watching a breakup video, it can feel like you've been betrayed, and maybe your partner has been deceptive with you or hiding things from you for a long time. And this is, in particular, if you had no idea that it was coming and you were really surprised.
Exactly. If your breakup did come out of the blue for you and was a shock, you might be thinking, was this something that they had planned? And it gets you thinking even more, because now you're thinking, did they just string me along until they were going to break up with me? Or did this vacation we have together, did they know that we were going to break up after it? Or this special thing we did, or when they told me that they loved me and cared about me, were they thinking about breaking up with me soon? And so something like this can cause you to question your entire relationship, can really affect your level of trust of, is somebody being honest and authentic with me when they're telling me that they love me and care about me and want this relationship to continue? Or are they just withholding and hiding back that they are planning on, dipping and leaving?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they can genuinely want to be with you most of the time, and that there are just moments here and there where they have been thinking about leaving for a while. That's one thing that I see a lot, is that they were happy maybe 90% of the time, but that 10% where they were unhappy has been going on for a while and you didn't know about it. So they may say something like, well, I've been unhappy with you for a while, and I've been thinking about breaking up with you for a while. And you're like, wait, what? I had no idea. And then when you hear it, it's shocking, because you're like thinking, well, out of the last 3 months, most of those days have been great, but we had 4 big arguments. And it could be, well, those four big arguments left me wondering and having a lot of doubt throughout those 3 months. So there's a lot of things to consider. The quality of the relationship is a big factor, and how well you're communicating, how transparent you are with each other. Everybody has different levels of transparency on how honest and sincere they're being, and they could be honest and sincere most of the time, but again, there could be those occasions where they're not telling you things, and so it feels like they've been kind of hiding something or keeping something from you for a long time.
Right, and it's not that you are obligated to tell your partner every single little bit of doubt that you have in the relationship. But if there is an overwhelming and consistent doubt or feeling that you want to break up with them, a lot of people that I talk to, they're thinking, why didn't they bring this up? Why didn't they give me a chance to work on this rather than just going straight for the breakup? Now I realize all of these issues and I'm super motivated to turn things around. But if I would have known, we could have fixed this. And I want you to pay attention to that feeling and that thought, because it may be due to their lack of communication. It may also be due to you missing a lot of the warning signs, as Craig mentioned.
Especially if you've dated an avoidant, because a lot of times they will say it very subtly. We never go to the beach anymore. Or, our sex life has been kind of dull lately, or boring lately. And you don't realize that one statement means they've been thinking about it for a long time or a lot.
Right. We don't realize the depth and the meaning that it has when a partner makes a small comment like that or showing a bit of concern. And this is why it is so important to be attuned to your partner. We were just talking about this earlier of being aware of your partner's emotions, and not that you're a mind reader, but being able to know them well enough to understand, okay, something does seem off here. They're not communicating like they used to, or, they seem to be really interested in this one thing. Let me figure out what that's about. So being aware is really important. And a dynamic that I do see really often is it will be one partner maybe who's a little bit more avoidant, who starts to work a lot towards the end of their relationship. Maybe they're working on a new project. Maybe they're trying to excel in their career or go to the next level. And sometimes that person will be thinking, I am doing this to set up a future for me and my partner. I'm doing this because I love my partner a lot and I want to build a future for us together. They have this mentality of, work hard to get the results that you want. And in doing that, their partner is saying, I'm noticing that we're not having our date nights as often as we used to. I'm noticing that you're being very flaky on our plans. And because we are so focused and have our blinders on our goal, our partner ends up feeling neglected. And this is something that can go on for a very long time, sometimes even years in some cases. And so this is why it is so important to, even if there is a goal in your life that you are really focused on, realize how it's impacting your partner and communicate with them too. They might be thinking and interpreting your behavior as you don't care about them anymore, or that you're not interested in the relationship anymore. When in reality, you're thinking, I'm doing this for you. So be clear, check in with your partner, see if needs are getting met.
Absolutely, and that's not easy to do.
You may also find that someone with a more anxious attachment style may be giving you more chances before they end the relationship. And so this is also why it is so important to be aware of what your partner is saying. There may be several times, like Craig had said, that they will bring up a certain concern, and it will be over and over and over again. And sometimes it can be so frequent that for you it almost becomes white noise because you're used to hearing it. But like Craig said, nothing's changing, and so they resort to, okay, well, I have to end this now.
Yeah, and a lot of times someone will say, I never thought they would leave me. That is such a mistake, to have that mindset that someone won't leave you. Just because they haven't left you yet and they've tolerated neglect for a while doesn't mean they're always going to tolerate it. And many of you are facing the consequences of that right now.
Exactly.
So sometimes you might be in a situation where you have a partner that's more dependent on you. Now, in that case, they may not feel safe enough to end the relationship, and so they may be trying to figure out a way and navigate how they're going to handle their independence once they leave. So they may have been wanting to leave for a while, but they couldn't, maybe financially, or they have other responsibilities or obligations, whatever it may be, that they couldn't leave when they wanted to. So it had been building up, and they'd been planning their escape, so to speak, and you just didn't know. So the timing can be a big factor in when the dumper is ending it. And so, they may never feel like there's quite the right time to do it, but they just feel like they have to do it.
Exactly.
And sometimes people have been unhappy in a relationship for a long time because they have their own mental health issues. Depression is a big one, anxiety, and something finally changes within them, or maybe even externally, that's happening to them, that they finally wind up ending the relationship.
Yeah, and all of these factors are things that can cause people to have these lingering feelings about wanting to break up but not quite ready yet. And so what's important for you to take out of this is attentiveness, is awareness with your partner, and also thinking about the meaning that you're deriving. Okay, let's say they have been thinking about breaking up for years. Why is that? Was it because of one of the reasons that we talked about? Was it because of, missing a lot of these signs? Was it because of their communication issues? Ultimately, you want a partner who is going to bring up their concerns to you before just making a decision for the relationship entirely. This is showing that they can negotiate, they can ask for their needs. And this is something that even, working with younger children, it's such an important life skill to have, is to be able to say, I feel blank and I need this. Can you help me get it? Because otherwise you start to have a lot of interpersonal problems where people don't know what you feel and need. You become resentful, you start bottling up these feelings and eventually explode, ends up in a breakup, or you not being able to communicate, what you're experiencing in a good way. So notice when people share their doubts with you, when they do share their concerns with you. Work on yourself to be in that emotionally balanced place, to not take those things so personally, but to realize, okay, this is something that they're bringing up to me because they care, because they want this relationship to work, and not because they're just running to a decision to break up.
Yeah, people can take those things so sensitively and think it's like they take it very personal when you're trying to communicate, but you have to be receptive to listen. You may feel deceived, and there could have been some deception going on in your situation, right? Just understand that it may not be that simple, that there may have been some kind of process of things that had been going on with your partner for a while. And, a lot of these different factors that we've touched upon can be different reasons to why it took them a while to end it when they said they've been unhappy for a while. It's not easy to handle these things, but you have to do your best to process and think about them and heal and work through your own feelings to get to a good place, regardless of what happens with them, because, you may have an opportunity to turn things around with them, but you may not. And you may be feeling the burden of all of these leftover feelings of hurt and betrayal. And you have to work through it and understand that they may have done the best that they could too. Maybe they didn't, but many people often do the best that they can.
Yeah.
So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.